But at least I've got dementia.
And not just.
They're dogs.
Yeah.
Which is actually curious. I wonder what, like, you know, the poker playing dogs, like the famous one, obviously, that everyone knows about. Does anyone know who painted that?
Not off the top of my head, but
Somebody who was super
Pavlov.
Clever.
nicely played.
Dallas, I'll be honest, I did not pay attention in art history.
Yeah.
That was one of them.
I did.
Well,
Did
Yeah.
I
enjoyed it.
That painting was never.
I enjoyed it because the teacher was
gone
hot.
over in my art history, but no, I'm just curious because I wonder if that person, like, I wonder what their niche was, right? So, like, you have famous artists, right? So you have, like, Picasso, right? Cubism, and you have
it would be modern. It's modern art. So
well, so I'm wondering what their niche was, right? So, like, was it
Crap paintings.
No, so because it was pretty good, but I'm just saying, and it's clever. But I'm wondering if they always did animals. Like, was
doing people stuff?
Was it the
Here
dogs
you go.
always
You ready?
doing people things, or was it always some weird odd thing playing poker?
Well, this guy has a fantastic name.
Yeah, he does.
Oh,
Cassius Marcellus Coolidge.
wow,
He was known as Cash.
cash money.
Cash
To his
Coolidge,
friends.
and he was born. Didn't know this existed in Antwerp, New York.
Antwerp.
Yeah,
I didn't
it's
know
the
that. either.
diamonds of New York, I suppose.
Plot twist.
And Dallas, you like this fact?
Yeah.
Those there's how many? 16 oil paintings of dogs playing poker.
Oh, from him?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's from 1903 series of paintings commissioned by Brown and Bigelow to advertise their cigars.
Nice.
I mean,
You
good
know,
for him.
those have always been in cigar shops. Now that I think about it,
Yeah.
like I've seen them on TV and stuff.
Brown
a
and
lot.
Bigelow.
And so all those were commissioned by cigar shops, by that specific.
By a tobacco company. Yes.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So those weren't even like a thing the artist necessarily thought of. They were like, "Hey,
Who's advertising?
here's a
Yeah.
quirky idea," and he was like,
It's
"How much money he got?"
It's an ad for oil paintings. It's pretty
That's pretty awesome.
revolutionary.
I really like that.
You know.
That's pretty cool. I really like the history now that I've learned about it. That's pretty dope. Dogs. You know, and honestly, now that I think about it, I mean, some of the catchiest things obviously are commercials, right? Whether for good or for ill. But I wonder, like, sometimes I'll see certain commercials and I'll think like, oh man, that's kind of a piece of art. And if it wasn't trying
The
to sell...
Geico Gecko.
Well, like,
I
if
know what
it
you're
wasn't
talking
trying to
about.
sell something, I think people would more readily just be like, oh, yeah, that's art. Like, that's pretty incredible.
It was pretty on in the early 90s. I mean, any Pepsi commercial
Was a work of art.
was a work of friggin' art.
I hate that I know that. Yeah.
Which ones?
We're
Every
grinning
one of them
here.
that had Cindy Crawford.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, I remember those.
Oh,
Yeah.
Those commercials made a man out of Russ.
Yeah, she would always pop the...
I don't like that.
did
The
they really?
commercials
About
did?
yourself in
Uh,
third person.
all right, let's...
Hey, you know, we got it wherever we could when we, you know, back in the 90s.
I've been
You're
here
saying
for
we.
5
Are
years.
you...
Do you have a shared
I'm
psychosis?
exaggerating.
Are you Venom
Gabby.
now? Or what is
I'm
happening?
exaggerating.
Oh man.
Do you have a symbiote living inside of you?
Got the symbiote there? Yeah.
Yeah.
We. No, but that, yeah, I'm just saying, like, I think, and I'm really curious, I don't know if you guys have any off the top of your head, but, like, there are a lot of commercials that I grew up with that when I would remember the jingle, like, for years, and unfortunately...
That's the point of a jingle.
I know, but I'm saying, like, it wasn't necessarily, like, unwanted. It wasn't, like, bad. You know what I mean? Like, it would be...
Yeah. No, I think that's still the point of a jingle.
Yeah.
Like Tim said.
I guess that's true.
Yeah,
Whether
how
it's
many
good or
jing-
bad?
Oh, yeah.
It's not necessarily nefarious. It's selling something.
Like, so, okay, here. Great
Nefarious, no?
great commercials, and I think ones that stick with me, and maybe, and especially like you want to talk about early '90s commercials, because I don't think they do them like this anymore. But the Mentos commercials were like some of the greatest commercials
I agree with you.
ever.
I agree with you.
Now,
The
not
concept's brilliant.
yes, and not in terms of like art, but as like a short story. You're like, this is awesome because every single one that you'd watch,
It's a narrative.
number one,
Sure.
the jingle is awesome. The do 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 and then the nothing go better than life doesn't better. Yeah, and so anyway, but then they'd always have some weird twist that you're like, I would not see that coming.
Right. Some
at all.
outrageous thing.
Some crazy thing. Like the guy, like I think the most famous one is where the guy is like going in for an interview. He's in like a full suit. And he goes and he sits down on a park bench that's white. And he sits down and then he stands up and he realizes, oh, it's wet, right?
And it's put stripes on his...
It puts stripes, but it's on his jacket, right? And he's like, oh, and he's like all bummed out because he's about to go to this interview. And the whole time the catchy jingle is playing in the background. And it's like, with Mentos fresh and full of life. And then all of a sudden the crescendo hits. And then he like pops a Mentos, gets a bright idea, rolls his body over the rest of the park bench, which then puts stripes all over his suit.
Pinstripes.
So then makes it look like
really thick pinstripes.
Thick pinstripes. And then he comes in and then like totally nails the interview. But that's also because he had like a Mentos. And so it not only freshened his breath, but like makes you think clearer or something. I don't know. Or think in a different way.
I think advertisement is just confidence.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, yes, but like, and I've seen people, talk about that commercial and they're like, I would just be like, you're an idiot. You have paint all over your suit. Or like, when you got on your jacket, why don't you just take off your jacket, right? Just don't bring your jacket into the interview. Like, it's a simple solution. Obviously, it would defeat the purpose of the jingle. But like, they're like, but maybe he was just hired because he was like, dude, that guy's breath is incredible. Like, it's the mintiest breath I've ever smelled.
I actually I didn't have my first Mentos until probably 5 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, it was too rich for my blood, I suppose. I'm not really sure.
It was too rich?
Like
you couldn't afford it?
I have no idea. And this is
you
really
did
funny.
used to live in a crack den. That's right.
My daughter asked me this morning, or today.
Well, this morning would be today.
Sorry. A little bit ago.
At some point.
It wasn't this morning. It was a little bit ago. My daughter asked me, one of my daughters asked me today, what are Mentos? What is Mentos? What is this?
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And I said...
I don't know.
I said,
you said you don't know?
I said, I don't know if it's like gum or... That's because I've had it one time. I don't recall it. And I think
acting like it's a drug.
Yeah.
I mean, it's volcanic.
Yeah, you're like, I took it once.
Not.
It wiped my memory.
I spit it out right away.
The Men in Black came. They flashed my eyes. I don't recall.
That and...
How would you recall?
The way of
That's kind of the point.
The way of the jingles.
Jingles are great.
They're gone though.
Well, yeah.
There's almost no jingles. No, there's not like.
Yeah.
No,
wait a
there's
second.
recognizable
Wasn't
things.
like,
There's TikTok.
Hang on a second. What was the TV show where one of the people, the job was a jingle? Was that Full House?
No.
Yeah.
Was that Dave Coulier?
Yeah.
Oh.
Did he write jingles?
Yeah.
Well, he did like at the beginning, right?
That was his job.
But like then didn't he go and do like a bunch of other things? Didn't he broke off to did like a kids show?
Yeah.
Ranger Joe.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. He did a kids show. That's
Ranger Joe, which he like wrote the jingle for. Which I'm still remembering now.
And then he became Ranger Joe.
Well, and then another famous TV show where the
Ranger
guy's
Joe was a
main money or job was, and he was super rich from it, is 2.5 Men.
Oh, right.
2.5 Men. He was jingle writer. It was what's his face?
Was it the
Charlie Sheen?
Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen
Oh,
was.
that's right.
And that's why he was like rich.
Right.
And then they come to like live with him. And I forget why, because I never really watched that show a lot, even though it was crazy popular.
The guy was...
I watched it more
Then
than
he divorces, his wife left him or something?
His wife divorced him and kicked him out.
Oh, dope. Yeah. That makes sense. The other guy's
and that's dopey. About as far as I know of the storyline.
Right.
I stopped watching.
You watch that and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Like he's going to live with Charlie Sheen. Crazy things are going to happen, yeah. But yeah, and so that was like his main thing, like how he got rich.
Mm-hmm.
And funny enough, I actually knew a guy who didn't write jingles, but he did make music for video games and for like movie trailers and stuff. And he used to work with me at a certain job where I was a salesman. It was really cool. And he got really popular. And when he did, he decided to move to Austin, Texas.
Do you still do it?
I think so. We weren't like that close. We were like close while we worked together, and then it was like he moved. So,
well, I mean, writing music for video games, you're writing.
It's like orchestral stuff. He played a little bit for me one time.
I think it's orchestral.
And whatever.
I mean,
but,
sure.
You know, yeah, it was very like, you know, it's thematic stuff. That's why he said it's also for like movie trailers too. So
it's probably cinematics.
Yeah, stuff like that. And it was like,
that's cool. That's like background epic.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
You think of like Marvel trailers, it's probably stuff like that, you know? Yeah. And yeah, I remember he played one for me and I was like, dude, this is pretty good. And he's like, well, yeah, I've used it in movie trailers. And I was like, well, that's awesome. Like, that's cool. And I was like, what a cool like job, you know? Like, you don't think of how many like odd jobs people have like that, you know? Just, I don't know.
That man, Hans Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer,
Yeah.
that's
Hans
literally
Zimmer.
what I was
That
just
man
talking to him
who
about,
used to work at a sales job with me, his name was Hans Zimmer,
yeah.
and I taught him everything he knew. And then he stole it from me.
That reminds me of
And he created an empire with what's his face? My favorite director, Christopher Nolan.
Christopher Nolan. Yeah. That reminds me of the line from the director's battle of Epic Rap Battles.
Oh, Epic
when Hitchcock tells Spielberg, half your million should go to John Williams.
That is
like, yeah,
definitely true.
That's very true.
It is definitely true, dude. Like, yeah, you know him by John Williams.
Yeah.
Like a John Williams score comes on, you're like, oh yeah,
That's
definitely.
a Spielberg movie.
Yeah, it's Spielberg. Like they're so intangible. In fact, sometimes I'll listen to certain parts of a soundtrack and I can't guess if it's like, you know, Peter Pan, Jaws, or Star Wars, or even Indiana Jones. You know, all those, they have some thematic things that you go like, that sounds kind of similar. I can't tell what he's playing right now. And then you have to listen to the rest of the song and you're like, oh, okay, now it finally hits that chord or whatever where you go.
Schindler's List.
Yeah, he did Schindler's List too.
Home Alone, Raiders, of course.
Yeah, Home Alone.
Star Wars. Oh, nice. Jurassic Park.
Yep.
That's a solid movie to write the score for.
Mm-hmm.
You just named a bunch of like solid. What are you talking about? Like, Jurassic. We hit the one with
Schindler's List, but Jurassic Park.
We hit the one with the dinosaurs, and he's like, "Now that is a quality."
Because I think
That's a
it
quality
sounds
soundtrack.
more.
That's a quality movie right there.
Because
That's
it's
funny.
not a movie you would imagine that they're going to have a lot of, you know.
It is a great theme. Like I still remember it when I watched it when it came out when I was 4, and I remember.
Don't say that.
Ooh, Close Encounters.
I mean, it's true.
Oh wow.
The 4 part. Don't say the 4 part.
It came out in '94.
Man,
It
I
just
had
makes
no
me feel old.
idea.
Oh,
Don't do
okay.
that.
Sorry.
He did Fiddler on the Freaking Roof.
Yeah.
That was the sequel.
Fiddler on the List.
Freaking Roof.
Oh,
Fiddler on the List.
yeah.
I mean,
That was a great scene. I'll tell you.
I hate to
didn't
say
see
how accurate that is.
I didn't
historically.
see the twist coming.
I think
I'll
it
tell
was
you that
Schindler's Fiddler.
much. Schindler's Fiddler.
Wow.
That was the third one that
know.
no one liked. It was
Fiddler's
like the
List.
Spider-Man 3 of the franchise. It was
Wow.
like, it's very mixed, you know. It was like,
Wow.
people were, they didn't like it.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Well, on that note, I better introduce us. Welcome to the Freeform Podcast. My name is Dallas. Tonight we have Zach, Gabby, and Tim, and our special guest tonight is Russ. He's been around a long time.
Especial.
Bringing a little lingo, dual lingo in there.
We're gonna like post edit like the boos and hisses, right?
Boo. You know, I was gonna say for the first time ever, actually, in any of our podcasts, I did put in a special effects sound effect,
Huh.
and that was in it was for you actually. It was in episode.
I'll take it.
I think it was episode 13, and it was like we said something like, "Oh yeah, edit in applause or something," and I was like, no, I'm not going to. We even left like 3 seconds of silence. And I was like, no, I'm not going to because it'll be even funnier. But then I thought about it and I was like, but then I think it'll be funnier if I edit it in and I said that we wouldn't put it in.
Yeah,
And so I did.
I agree with that call.
So I did do that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's in there. I don't know where.
Somewhere.
Somewhere.
I mean,
If you're an avid listener, listen to episode 12. Or 13. I believe it's 13.
Or listen
And
to
tell me-
all of them until you find it.
Yeah. Just start listening at episode 1.
It's 13.
It's only like 1,059 minutes. I got a update from our podcast host,
I saw
Buzzsprout.
that, yeah.
Yeah, I posted it on Twitter because why not? But apparently I uploaded 1,059 minutes of content last year. So I was like, wow, that's cool. That's pretty cool.
What's our goal for this year?
A lot.
Well, considering we only posted 13
we're shooting for 2,000
episodes last year, because I think the 14th we just posted. It was the first one of this year. So,
by the way, welcome to 2022.
Yeah, welcome. Yeah, this is the new year. This is our first one recording. Yeah, in the new year. The goal. Well, I mean, you said the goal.
Yeah, the goal I think is 50 episodes.
50 episodes.
50
episodes posted. Yeah. Gives us 2 weeks of break, but I think we can hit 50 episodes posted the next year.
Hit me up on the Twitter here. What's the Twitter handle?
It's at Freeform. That's FREEFOURM. And I decided to keep off the whole podcast part and all that because it'd just be easier to say at Freeform.
Yeah.
Also, this week I posted us into a podcasting Reddit subreddit.
Right.
So it's just for like discovery and stuff. I honestly, but after posting it, I was like, I really doubt it's going to get any traction because there was like 80 posts just this week of just rant, and it's everything you can imagine types of podcasts.
Right. Sure.
And I was like, well, okay, can't hurt.
It's a platform added.
Yeah, it can't hurt. It can't hurt. So I was just like, okay, well, I did it. So who knows? Maybe I'll throw it in there in case you're that curious. I threw it under r/podcasting. So yeah,
should have put it under booming.
r/booming.
Gabby, I would, but booming hasn't taken off yet. The good news is that we totally own it. Like no one else, I checked, no one else has used this term like this the way we did.
Booming.
So. Yeah. So a few weeks ago, actually probably closer to like a month or so ago, we were recording and I didn't understand what podcast Wrapped was.
He didn't know what Spotify Wrapped was.
Spotify. Sorry, I just had sorry.
I just want to move
Spotify Wrapped.
Yeah.
So yeah, this would be real quick explanation because we've talked about this like 3 times in a row now.
Yeah.
But anyway, so basically, I didn't understand what it was, and we got to a point where basically I was having like a boomer moment. I'm guessing you've heard that term before, right?
Never heard of it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, he's
lying.
Legitimate boomer right now. Anyway, so I was like, well, I guess I'm not in comparison to something Tim was doing. I was like, he's an actual boomer, and I was like, well, I'm just booming.
Except I'm not even.
He's not even close to a boomer.
In terms of our
in the definition of the term, the way it's used, boomer.
Yeah, which
highlights guys like me being called boomers because those people are freaking morons. It has a definition. Boomer does.
I realize, but it's
totally no. I know. I get what you're saying.
It's a slang term. It'll mean something different.
It's more ironic.
It means that stupid young people think that they're smarter than everybody else older than them. That's what it means.
Yeah. Well, now I think
this is sensitive.
Russ made
it is related actually to sensitive subjects with me. Yes.
And Russ made it worse because he created 4 or more of those young people.
Yes,
so
you know. Except my morons are slightly less moronic.
I'll concede that.
I lied. They're full morons.
I was going to say
they're full morons.
They're good.
I know your kids, Russ.
Oh, you don't know the. Oh my lord.
Oh well. Okay. We don't have to get into it. But
I've tipped the iceberg is what I'm saying.
Anyway, that's the point. And so I accidentally came up with this term and I was like, that's pretty funny. We liked it. And so,
as a verb, I accept it. As redefining boomer as something other than a person from the baby boomer generation, I'm having trouble with.
Yeah, you know.
I'm
saying it's
allowed.
Process.
It's allowed. But I'm also. I mean, because language is designed to change.
Yes, and that's why
I absolutely can do that. Although
I'm not against it, I'm just having trouble.
I also am allowed to recognize accurately that they're absolute freaking morons.
Yeah. By the way, you're actually not supposed to call it language anymore. It's called slangwage. So
it's language.
That's not good too.
Yeah. Those people need to wake up every morning and kick the shit out of themselves. Good Lord.
I just made that up. That is not a thing.
Oh, wow.
Please don't make that a thing.
But well done, though, because it was on the money.
Yeah.
That was down the middle, what I would expect.
Well, Russ, you're looking at the guy who came up with booming, so what else did you expect?
Fair point.
Anyways, usually the term is used from to describe oneself. It's not generally.
Yeah.
You know, we're not pushing.
This was told when I made it. Yeah,
we're
totally.
not pushing for me to say, "Oh, Russ is booming right now." It's more of you can go, "I don't understand what's happening. I'm booming right now."
All right, okay,
and that's the way I created it.
Okay.
I self-described. I was like, "I'm booming." I was like, "I'm booming right now." I guess because I was like,
I don't understand. What's
I was
happening.
like, I don't really get it, but I'm not quite a boomer yet, so I'm booming.
Okay, I'm.
It's funny.
I'm into this.
Yeah. It's not it's not derogatory at all. It's meant to be completely hilarious. So, please let us know when you're booming because it's funny. But yeah, anyway, so just we make up all kinds of cool terms.
You're changing, dude. My son before I came over here, he's like, hey, because he also wanted to come. He said, is there anything fun at Dallas's house? And I thought, actually, I did just automatically give him an answer. I was like, no. He's got figurines, but they're all in boxes. And he looked at me with an awkward, and I'm
Your
like,
son's older than just playing with like doll or like toys. Like he would like.
My son hasn't hit puberty yet.
Well, yeah, I know that, but you don't have to hit puberty to like not. I don't know. I'm saying there's other things. There's not a lot of fun stuff.
He's not aware that girls are, that there's any other kind of play when it comes to girls other than like on tablets in video games.
Oh, on tablets
and like sports. He doesn't realize there's other ways to play with
you
girls.
Said tablets. I kind of thought for a second like pills. So I was like,
what I mean is he's not aware. He's not aware there's other ways to play with girls.
Yeah, I don't like the way you say that.
Well, yeah. Nor should he. Nor should he at this age.
You don't need to like it, but it is true. That is how you function, just like I did.
The dirty truth of life. Yeah.
But no, I just get over here. I realize I don't see all the figurines.
I made
that's
that.
That's why I mentioned that.
I made that design choice.
It was not feng shui enough for you?
Literally, quite honestly, what you said there kind of sparked it a little bit. I just kept looking at them one day, and I just kept looking, and I was like, why am I like displaying all these? Like they're like, and all my movies were over there, and it was slightly inconvenient. And I was like, what's a way to make this a little more convenient? And I think look a little better. And so I just took a ton of my Blu-rays, all the ones that would fit, and I stuck them underneath my TV stand.
Do you still buy
any clarity? Before he had that there, he had a couple pop figures.
Yeah.
He has a couple of pretty rare pop figures.
Did we not say that? Yeah. Yeah, I have like, but I don't have a crazy amount. You guys are probably thinking of like the people who have like a full wall or like stack. Like I think I have 12 total. So, and each one was specifically bought like they were each bought like individually.
Dallas is not a collector of collections. He's a collector of things that he likes.
Yes, thank you, Tim, and I appreciate that.
I don't actually have a problem.
Yeah,
I come over to here and I don't have a problem with any of what you've.
Well, that's exactly what I aimed for.
I know, and I thought the time came.
I was waiting for your approval stamp, and I'm glad you've got it out and inked. And just
so now turn your beer neon light on. See if he.
He'll be blinded, dude.
Yes.
He can't look. Cold ones did us dirty. Ironically, yes and no. Like they did so well that it's
an over-effective.
You can't look at it. Yeah. I was gonna say, actually, Russ, I'm surprised you haven't mentioned like
the elephant in the room.
I was gonna say the same.
The 6 foot tall elf in the room. I can't believe you haven't said one word about that yet. That's actually kind of blown me away.
What's weird about that is it captures.
You have one in your house?
That's why.
It's me.
That's it, yeah.
I'm the one in my house. That's the.
Also,
listen.
I laughed harder. Hold on, I have to explain that to anyone listening. So I laughed harder at that because when Russ said "that's me," there have been some times that people have pointed out that Russ looks akin to Will Ferrell.
I think it's pronounced Will Ferrell.
Yeah. That was when he was going by his street name.
When I'm not, I'm fatter than I'm too fat to be called Will Ferrell right now.
He's always been pretty chunky. I don't know. That's part. I don't know.
The point being is, it's funny that exact same scene. Kelly and I every single time somebody says a time,
Yeah.
we always repeat it and scream it. Lately,
Lately?
10 a.m. Santa's coming. And that's that poster right there.
Yeah,
That's what's happening right there.
Yeah, he's like literally screaming like
10 a.m.
Yeah. And isn't it terrifying though? Don't his eyes like follow you around the room? Like it's one of those type of things.
His eyes point pretty much wherever you're sitting.
Wherever you look, his
looks
eyes
like
are
he's
looking at you.
Yeah.
Now, have any of you?
Impressive.
I have actually had a life-size cardboard poster of another human before.
Cindy Crawford?
I stole it in the same vein, though, Dallas. I stole it. I was with my buddy, my brother and his college friends back home.
And a group of college guys always make responsible decisions.
So they were all freshmen in college. I was in the 8th grade. And we were driving around. And they said, hey, one of the guys said, hey, Russ, get out, run into that bar, and take the Kathy Ireland in a bikini stand-up poster that we saw in there as we passed by it a few days ago, walking past that bar.
So it was like faced out, like in the window or something?
It was inside.
Right, but it was faced so you could see
No,
it?
it was inside.
Oh.
You walk in, it was like to your left, and then you see the stand.
Oh, okay.
Where they were,
Yeah. Gotcha.
What you call it, stand, where the girls stand.
Yeah. And they said,
so I ran in, took it, and then it lived in my my college dorm for the next couple of years, and then I retired it.
He got his use out of it.
Oh no!
Oh my gosh! Wow!
Yes.
And then he,
I did. I hung clothes on it,
and then he recycled her.
Oh man, it was it was fantastic though.
Jeez.
The life-size Kathy Ireland poster.
So wait, was anyone? Did someone like yell at you when you went to grab it, and you popped in to grab it?
I was a fit 8th grader, man.
But no one said a word.
I became a
like
guy.
No one saw you taking it and went like,
you're talking about a guy who played in college at the highest level of college on the bench. Okay,
I'm not speaking to your physical abilities. I'm just saying.
Really quickly, though,
actually really...
can we go back a second? Because Russ said he stole it at 8th grade, and then he said for the next couple of years it lived in.
Oh, you know what?
Dorm. Yeah.
Where did I went for the 4 years?
No, it was. I'm sorry. Good point. It went through high school and then the first couple years of college, and then I didn't.
Oh, so you had it for a long time.
I had about 6 years, probably.
Dang.
It didn't transition as I transferred from the first school to the second. I didn't take it with me.
Dallas, there's this thing about cardboard cutouts. They don't age. So
they don't age. That's true. Kathy Ireland still hasn't aged, I'm sure.
When she started peeling off of the cardboard, he was like, I got it.
Actually,
I gotta put this
actually, I'm 44 years old now, and
I still have it.
My wife keeps telling me, "Hey, can we please move that thing? It's
why is it sitting at the edge of our bed?
No.
It's not a good."
And then Russ moved it, but he pinned it to the ceiling.
And she's like, "Honey,
now
this is a droop. This is a terrible example for our 3 daughters and our son."
And he goes, it's up on the ceiling. No one can see it anymore. It's all good. Yeah.
She's like, their vision is normal. It works.
He goes, plus this saves on buying a mirror. And then how heavy it is to hang. It's hard.
Our daughter. Well, never mind.
Wow. That was a good stop there. That was good. That's interesting. So you had it for long. I could see you having that in your room and then having friends over and just being like, every once in a while, pointing over and be like, hey guys, remember when I stole that? And then being like, yeah, we do.
You tell us every time we come in.
Every time we come in here. And also, we were there, so like, it's done. Yeah, that was great. That was the greatest day of my life.
Greatest day.
Gabby, I don't want to prod you, but I wanted to open and see if you had any interesting thoughts.
I don't know. I think one that I've been thinking about recently is why, I don't know, like different cafes or coffee places are definitely made for very specific customers, audience. I don't know. Because every time I go through Starbucks drive-thru, I just have to say what I want. They're like usually pretty professional, quick about it. Boom, boom, boom. You go through a Dutch Bros drive-thru, you're signing up for a conversation.
That is
and
true.
I didn't want one.
Yes.
And okay, wait, hang on, real quick, sidebar story because this was funny.
Oh,
okay.
This is rare.
She got animated.
A Gabby tangent. No, this is great.
Okay.
Wow.
So, we're with Zach's family and we're driving to Idaho for something for his family. And Zach is driving the car that I am in with a few of his siblings, and then his brother is in the car ahead of us with his wife and his mom and the rest of their siblings. And so Zach's brother goes ahead, goes through, and it's like super early in the morning because we're getting all the way to Idaho and we're all kind of tired and just like, ugh, whatever. And then we go through, and then Zach pulls up to this drive-through, and this one chick, I don't know, she's like probably like early 20s, I don't know, like super like bouncy, like energetic, bubbly, like little blonde thing. And I'm in the passenger seat, and she leans out. And she's like, hey, what do you guys want? Super Velvy, da-da-da. It's like 6 a.m. We're like, dude, I just want like this and whatever. And she's looking, she's like, oh, where are you guys going? And Zach's like, oh, we have to go to Idaho. He's keeping it short, whatever. And she's like, oh, yeah, I'm just at a time in my life where like, I just want to travel. And like, I just, I'm doing all these things. And like, because I'm young and I'm single and I'm in my 20s and I have all this time. And she just looks at Zach and I'm like, girl, stop. It was, I don't remember exactly what she said, but it was something where she was just like, yeah,
that is a bad move.
She's like, I'm just, I'm free right now, and I'm just, young, and I want to travel, and I'm single. And I was like, oh, honey, how many other people have you given this speech to today?
I'm single, and I'm ready to mingle.
I was like, it took me a second, and it's early, so my brain's kind of buffering, and it's like, she did that, and Zach pays, and she goes to go make it or whatever, and I was like, did that just like, did she really just do that?
She looks at Zach and she's
happen?
like, "What should I call? What should I call you?"
Yeah,
yeah. She was asking like where we were going.
And Zach was like, "Happens to me all the time."
Well, and then part of me, I was like, I was kind of laughing to myself then as we were pulling off because Zach's brother, who was ahead of us, he's married. I'm like, I wonder if she asked him the same.
Yeah.
Hey, she's just throwing it out there. She's young. She's single.
Ready to mingle.
Ready to mingle.
Travel.
Yeah. Russ heard that speech every night from that statue that he stole. So
Yeah.
Statue.
From the cutout.
I upgraded it because it sounded more pathetic if it was a cardboard cutout. But
the
if it's a
cardboard cutout
statue,
heard it a lot from me.
Oh, okay. All right.
But
you're like, hey, Kathy.
You first of all, you're not a Dutch Bros girl. No, because you're not going to want to talk to those people.
No, but I'm like, why is that's just such an? It's so
because
odd
that's
to
how
me.
they're
It's
trained.
experience. You're going there for the experience.
I know that. Not
Yeah.
because I ever worked for them, but I know people who have, and that's basically what they look for. They look for very peppy, talkative people who are going to be really positive and, hey, how's it going?
It's just wild to me.
Yeah,
Starbucks?
I feel like you need to go to the place the coffee version of the soup Nazi in Seinfeld. Like you need to go to the coffee Nazi.
Yeah, no coffee.
Well,
for you.
I think
No coffee for you.
Starbucks can be that. What were you trying to say, Zach?
I was just going to say, you go to the Starbucks drive-thru and people stand at the window and hand you your stuff.
Yes.
You go to Dutch Bros and they sit halfway out the window, leaning into your car half the time.
Mostly in Zach's car.
Mostly in my
and
car.
They're single,
and it's all
peppy girls.
Yeah, peppy, blonde things. But you actually never got to where you were going with that story. That was the.
Oh yeah,
that was the side. That was the rabbit trail.
No, that was just
trail.
wild to me. As I was like, it's 6 a.m. in November, and just like,
yeah, can we roll this along? Yeah,
it was just so weird to me. I don't know. And again, just afterwards, and I remember I looked in the back seat where Zach's sister was, and I was like, did that really just happen? And she was like, I don't know what her problem was.
So did you get her number? Or,
yeah. Later, he circled back around.
I circled back in the car that I was driving with everybody else in there.
I actually was on a date in Eureka Springs, Arkansas.
Wow.
In 1999.
Are you giving so much information because we're supposed to believe it? Like,
yeah. The more specific it is, the more realistic you might think it.
Yeah, he's got too many details for it to be false. I mean, come on.
I was on a date with a very, very, very cool and quite attractive girl, the sister of one of my teammates. And she was
that's always brave.
But no, she was very cool.
There was
very
some
cool.
bro code broken there.
Very cool girl. And we were hanging out and listening to some blues music at this blues festival, the Eureka Springs Blues Fest. And
it's the South, so it's
we're
real
talking.
blues.
we're talking, we're sitting with, at this big picnic table behind a bar and listening to this live music outside. And we're just hanging and talking with people around us. And the band is to my right. The girl I came with is to my right. And the girl across from me, we've been talking with for about 25 and a half minutes. I look over, she pushes her hand across the table pretty close, pulls it away. And about a foot from me, sitting in front of me, is a folded up piece of paper with their phone number on it.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
That's brave.
It was the Eureka Springs Blues Fest version of the Dutch Bros girl trying to hit on Gabby's man.
Yeah.
And I did actually, I looked at it. I looked at the girl. She wasn't seeing any of it. So I just kind of real easily reached in, and so I hung out with that girl the next day.
Wow.
Of course you did.
So that was my Sunday. And
Of course.
Dang. You dog.
To be fair to Russ, he was not in a dating relationship with the girl. He was just on a date. There's a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. She took me on a date.
Well, he didn't clarify that. Actually, he just.
I wasn't
trusted
on a
it.
date.
Based on the fact that he said I was on a date, not I was dating.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I didn't.
I thought he was giving a lot of details to throw off the fact that this actually happened with Kelly.
Oh,
but he struck out with the other girl.
It was 3 days. It was 3 days ago, and it was. And she was a hooker, actually.
Yeah, and actually,
And
it happened at an Arby's.
Russ turned right.
It was Arby's, not a cool blues festival.
It was Arby's, and she didn't work there. She was on the other.
Yeah.
She was outside actually, knocking on the window, and she had almost a full row of teeth.
And you're like, I'm gonna shoot my shot.
I'm gonna shoot my shot.
That's funny. Oh my gosh.
Gabby, yeah, you definitely have a good point. Coffee
Even
shops,
like fast food, like drive-throughs. I guess
that's
it's mostly
true.
drive-throughs. I should redefine that. It's
Okay.
mostly drive-throughs because like some of them are very just like quick. You get your thing. It's like they're just trying to get you out of there as fast as possible. And other ones are like, hey, let's hang out. And I'm
Well,
like,
so
I would
now
like
to be fair to Dutch Bros, their coffee is dog crap. So there's that. So they have to do something. They have to do something to get you to come through.
Now, I've said this before. They know exactly what they're doing, and the same reason you don't like it is the same reason why it's the perfect place for peppy people, because they center more towards like teenagers. So
He's just definitely calling you not peppy.
she's
I'm
okay
not
with
offended
that.
by that.
I was saying,
I don't know.
Fact.
It's still funny to me.
There's no pep. No.
Yeah. So
She's got pep in her step.
No.
Oh yeah, you throw a field hockey ball out there. She's gonna.
It's not pep. It's aggression.
Field hockey ball. What am I
yeah, I
gonna
was gonna
do?
say yeah.
You're gonna
kickboxing and-
attack that sucker.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
thing's not getting in the goal, dog.
But again, though, that's
There
not.
it is. Okay.
That's not peppy. That's just pure aggression.
it is great.
That's
Yeah,
motivation.
Yeah, motivation.
Yeah.
I'm not
yeah.
happy about it. That's just
Exactly.
Man, I wish I could have seen you play field. I bet you put some people down.
I broke a girl's nose once.
Had a girl. Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
exactly what I'd imagine.
can you share
Yes.
what they called you?
Oh,
Please.
Okay, I'll just basically it was just Mad Dog, basically.
Oh, gotcha.
Or Dog Slide, depending, because
Slide.
I just took people out.
Is that a move? Am I unaware? Is that like an actual move, or
Yeah,
it just
it's-
referred to you sliding?
Yeah, because okay. So I wasn't afraid of going on the ground, and I
Okay.
think a lot of other goalies, not even just like in our league, but just in the sport in general, are more afraid of like falling or just being on the ground. And it was one of those things where it was a very actually intentional moment of like my goalie training where it was just, we're just going to have you fall down a lot. So you just get used to doing that and learning how to fall. Cause that's the scary thing, right? Is you're like, oh, I'm going to hurt myself.
Yeah, learning
Like
to fall
your unconscious brain
correctly.
is like, oh, I'm going to hurt myself.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think between that and rugby, it was very much like, I'm not afraid if I get pushed down and like let gravity take over. Like,
Right, you know how
one,
to
I'm not
land.
going to hurt myself, and then
Yeah.
two, how can I actually like capitalize on this?
Yes.
Because my rule as the goalkeeper, also field hockey is very interesting. It's like ice hockey, where it's sticks and the ball is on the ground, and like you can lift it only if you're shooting and all this stuff. But unlike ice hockey, where the goalie is in all of that gear, in field hockey, I am the only one wearing gear. Everybody else gets goggles and a mouth guard and shin guards. I am
on your face.
I had a helmet. I had a custom painted helmet that had flames on it.
Yeah.
And I flipped the little strappies up that hooked it onto the top of my head so they looked like little devil horns.
Yeah.
Nice.
And there was one part I remember I got somebody shot and it hit me like in between like the cheek and mouth like area, like on like the jaw right there. And it just chipped my helmet, so I just put a band-aid on it and I drew stitches on it. I was fun in high school.
That was in high school.
That's hardcore.
Yeah, and I just kept it. I asked when I went to, college and stuff, because I had to check, because it was an actual, like, OBO helmet, which is like a field hockey company, like, out of New Zealand that makes gear. And because it was an actual OBO helmet, I was able to keep it. But I had
Didn't
to,
have to change colors or anything?
Nah.
That's cool.
Yeah, well, it was because it had to pass codes, basically, and so because...
Fit within NCAA
yeah, because
rules.
structurally it was still, and also just insurance wise, like it was a sound piece of equipment. They let me keep it, but they had to like retouch it and whatever. But I got to keep it. But anyways, so I'm in all the gear. All of the other players aren't, and so because of that, I always have found that goalies in field hockey are either very wimpy or very scary. Because if you're not used to being in the gear and you're afraid of the ball, you're going to really suck as a goalie because you're not going to be able to move very well and you're going to freak out all the time. So it was, a big point that my coaches always had me do, and my dad, where it was like, you're going to run and sprint and do burpees in your gear, and you're also going to fall on the ground a lot. Because so, 2 fears just both gone. But a rule I capitalized on that I always kind of like clung to where within reason, I'm allowed to do anything, slide tackling, poking at the ball, whatever, all this stuff, as long as it looks like I'm going for the ball. So I just got to slide tackle people all the time. And I would just take people out. Because if they,
Did you have to be going for the ball?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I can't just like randomly be like, I don't like you, I'm going to slide tackle you.
So do you can the girls, I'm presuming they're called forwards?
Yeah.
Can they get up there? Maybe they have their backs to you. Can they check? Can you check them? Just like in hockey?
Kind of. Where often what would happen is the ones that would bug me. I can't just go touch somebody if they're not even bothering me. If they're just standing in their spot, I can't go up and
you can't
mess
move
with them
if they're in your way.
I can't go up and mess with them
because that's one of the awesome things about ice hockey is you watch the goalies and they're freaking smacking dudes with they're slashing them with their stick.
I can't hit people if they don't have the ball.
Okay.
However, people who were cherry pickers up in my space, forward attacks, all these things would come, and this was actually the ones that pissed me off the most, where they would come and either stand directly behind me or actually lean onto me and onto my leg pads to try and keep me from moving. I would just elbow them and shove them off because now they're touching me. So I can get them, out of the way. And for good reason, they shouldn't be there. This is how I broke the one chick's nose, because somebody, they did what's called an aerial drive, which is they, full swing, it looks like a golf swing hit of the ball into trying to hit the top corners of the goal so it goes in the air. My job as the goalie, and this is what you're taught, these are the rules, where you're trying to get it, if you're close enough to the goal, you can try to lift it up over it, but if you're not close, that's super risky. So you always try to go, you're getting the ball to the side and on the ground. That's always your job, is side and down. And this one chick was cherry picking right over my left shoulder, just totally in my blind spot, and they did, high drive at me, and I blocked it down to the side, and she was just standing right there and just hit her right in the face. And,
the ball?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, because she was, and it was one of those things.
Did you spit on her after that?
No, she spit on me, but I remember afterwards the ref came up to me, and I checked on her. I felt bad because she's bleeding everywhere for some reason. Her parents come up and they're helping her off the field. No. For some reason she's limping.
Oh,
and I'm
okay. That's
wait.
Yeah,
she's holding her face and she's limping. I'm calm down.
You're like, I can make you limp, you little
Oh my
bee.
gosh!
I'm like, calm down.
I'm sorry. I just got to
I'll
interject. It
make
made me
you
think
limp.
of something really funny from The Office when Dwight shoots off a gun in the office and it goes off near Andy's ear and he goes, ah, and he screams, right? And he's like, what happened? He's like, I think you burst my eardrum. And so he goes to lean on Daryl's shoulder. And Daryl, if you guys never watched the show, he's like a huge guy. He goes to lean on Daryl's shoulder and Daryl's like, he starts leaning on him as he's walking out and he starts limping and he goes, what happened to you? And he goes, I burst my eardrum. And he goes, that's what I thought. And then he gets him off his shoulder. He's like, just walk. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? It's hilarious.
Yeah. No, it was basically one of those moments where, for some reason, and and there's a difference, having played a lot of contact sports, between like when you get hit in the face and your eyes water and it hurts and the kind of shock of it and your eyes water because, that's where all your nerves are. Like, I get that.
Yeah.
Versus like crying about it. And this chick is like crying. And I'm like, girl, you were standing in the wrong spot. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
Is she mad at you?
She was all like, all this stuff. And all her teammates are, just like death glaring me, all this stuff. And, they help her off and it's, pause or whatever. And like, I feel bad. So I want to check on her and all this stuff because now I'm feeling guilt tripped. And
no, you weren't. You just had a lot of eyes on you. And you're like, I guess I got to go.
Yeah, it was, it was a little bit of that. And I remember.
Be sportsmanlike.
Well, and I remember, the ref came up and I was like, is it like a penalty stroke on me? Which like I would understand, And he was like, no, you did your job, but she did get hurt, so we're just calling it neutral and we'll start back on center. And I was like, sweet. But it's just, it's that's things cool. Like that where, and this is why I liked, college play more, because in high school there were moments like that where like, I was like, I want to like play. I want to like do stuff and like, I don't know. And it's just like, you're so mean. You're so violent. I'm like... Shut up.
I'd be like, why are you playing the sport?
Yeah,
like,
we literally have sticks in our hands.
It's like it's how the game is played in the few, field hockey matches I've ever watched. They're pretty aggressive. So, I'd be like, do you know what game you're playing? I would expect by collegiate level you'd know
especially
what's going on. So, but that's crazy.
It was like always my favorite moments when like, because, in the game, like I'm always wearing a helmet. I've got all this padding on. Like I'm super hard to recognize because there's just, I'm totally covered. Like I have like these like hand mitt things on, like even my feet, I have little like boot things I put on the outside of my shoes. And so at what do they call like tournaments and stuff, when then, in between games, there's like little vendors and you go get food and da-da-da. And so I'll just be in like a t-shirt and like my normal shorts, just like walking around, taking my gear off. And then you just hear people talking at tables where they're like, oh my God, did you see that one goalie, the one with the flame helmet? Like she's like, I don't like her. She scared me. And I was like,
were they calling names?
No, but it was fun. they were like,
they're calling her scary.
So okay, you have what do you have, like a glove hand? Do you have a glove hand, stick hand kind of a deal?
Yeah, you have stick hand. You just have like, it's just like flat. It kind of, honestly, it looks like a yoga block, if I'm being honest, that you like stick your hand into and it's just like flat.
So you can't catch.
No, you can only deflect stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's wild. Okay.
But yeah, it was that. Or my favorite too was like for any team stuff where they'd be like, oh, end of the year, like team dinners or whatever. And, so it's like families of all the players and all our teammates and stuff. And we're just in normal clothes when we never really get to see each other, just like totally casual. And parents come up and they're like, oh, whose sister are you? And I'm like, what? And they're like, I don't recognize you. And I'm like, I'm the goalie. And they're like, oh, you're Gabby. I don't know your face. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. But
I know your name. Just like, never seen you before.
Oh, you're scary. And I'm like, yeah.
It's the flames.
Oh, you like flinch at him, like, yeah, what's up?
Well, that was always the fun part too, is just, it's so me, like, day to day, it's so not how I just act like through the day. People are like, oh, I remember the first time my brother watched me like really play, just, any contact sports really, when he like got interested and started watching me, he was like, Sissy, I don't know who you are out there. And I was like, yeah.
No, I guess it's just because I know you. Yeah. I'm like, oh yeah, I could see you freaking pounding some girls.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like there's no doubt. Like, oh yeah, you're swinging bows and slashing people on the Keeleys, and
hunting.
To your earliest comment, I would wish I could see her play too.
Oh man, that'd be fantastic.
It would not be as nice looking now because I haven't played in like.
No, I know. I just meant like if we went back to you playing consistently.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot of fun.
I'm all injured and stuff now.
Dang.
It's not fun anymore.
Well, let's not get on too much of a sports tangent because
Dallas hates sports.
Well, no.
He's an anti-sports person.
I was making a joke about Russ because Russ will never stop talking about sports.
I do have I do have a funny sports story that is not about me playing sports.
Oh, okay.
I was in San Diego after college, and there was a kid I knew there named John. I met him. He was, at the time, I think he was 14 and a half years old. I was tutoring him. His parents hired me to tutor him and then his triplet siblings. And he's one of the most, unique and amazing guys I've ever met. The kid ended up dying at 18 and a half years old, had lung cancer. Mm. But he was a remarkable freaking kid. And I introduced him to all my friends, and they're like, why are you bringing this 18-year-old kid around here? And I was like, just wait. And every time I'd introduce him to kids, to my friends, my age, 28, 29 years old, they're like, oh, we get it. This kid's unbelievable. Anyway, so
pretty soon they started hanging out with him and dropped Russ.
They actually, each one of my friends started their own personal relationship with this kid.
Oh, that's cool.
And yes, they did go hang out. Yeah. Dang. And they're like, why are you bringing this kid? I'm like, because I brought him over to the house one time. I was like, dude, you better not offer him no alcohol, and no freaking weed.
Yeah.
I will kick the crap out of you. And they're like, this is stupid. Why are you lit? I'm like, dude, just trust me.
Right.
And they're like, oh, we get it. So he was a funny, witty kid. And he, just like y'all have heard me, blather on about how about football.
Good word use.
He did too. And I told him one time that I had a hard time sleeping at the time. I lived in San Diego at the time. I had a hard time sleeping because I woke up, I had a dream, and I was hard. One of those moments where you don't know if you're really dreaming or if you're in the moment. And I was like, I was dreaming, like, could I? And I woke up and I started going back to the dream in my mind. Could I actually get through the hole as a tailback for the San Diego Chargers? And that's what my dream was. And I told him.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward 3 months, 4 months. I get a letter in the mail. The corner, there's a stamp. It's San Diego Chargers envelope letter. Envelope. And I open it up. I'm like, that's weird. And I was like, well, the job I was doing at the time, I had been to the Chargers facility when Drew Brees was there, and Phillip Rivers, I think, was a rookie that year. And
so Brees was on his way out.
Brees was on his way out, and then, what was kind of cool is in the locker room, because they took us everywhere. They were kind of courting us, and we were kind of courting them. It was kind of a mutual thing, which is, I think, what they do anyway. It wasn't like we were that cool. I worked for Office Max, but it's still outside sales type stuff. Drew Brees had a drum set in the locker room. He'd come and play drums, and Phillip Rivers is a large dude. So I was like, okay, I've been there. Maybe they just sent something to my house. Kind of weird. I don't know how would they know my address. I open it up, and it's on letterhead. It's addressed to me. And it says, sometimes you can't sleep at night because you have dreams. And in those dreams, you imagine, what would it be like? Could I be a ball carrier? Well, we want you to be a ball carrier. We want you to come try out for the San Diego Chargers. We know you're still in shape. And it was an invitation for me to come try out for the San Diego Chargers. That shithead of a little kid
I was waiting.
Put all the effort in. And this is in the days of the internet when it took freaking effort.
Wow, yeah.
To steal that logo and actually make it look right on the envelope. And I'm reading halfway through. I'm like, what is this? They're inviting me to I put it wrong because it didn't get to the dream part to the middle. I'm like, oh, you got to be freaking.
You got to be kidding me.
What is happening here,
dude? That's awesome. That's hilarious.
Oh, it was a fantastic prank.
Yeah, that's
fantastic
good.
prank.
That is good. And
I told you he was a unique kid, man.
Went to the proper effort too.
Y'all would have loved him.
That's hilarious. Well, yeah, that's definitely up in the upper echelons for personal pranks. That's pretty awesome.
Pretty fantastic.
That's pretty cool. I was gonna say it was making me think of a time. This is actually not as a prank. I just genuinely one time tried to get for Nate. I know you guys have all met Nate before. One of my best friends from high school. He was super into Tina Fey when we were in high school and like out of high school. I don't know what it is. He just kind of had like
into her.
He had like he liked how funny she was, but he also just had kind of an odd crush on her. He didn't it was whatever. And I was always like, whatever, she's all right. And anyway, he was just like kind of obsessive, and he loved watching 30 Rock and just whatever. And I was like, dude, for his birthday, I'm gonna get her to like send a letter with maybe like a picture signed or just something. And so I legitimately scoured the internet, found this like notable source, and they're like, yeah, just write to this email, and like, you can, you hope that they write back, because I was like, because it goes through PR people or whatever.
Right.
And I did, and unfortunately nothing ever came of it. I didn't even get like a word back, didn't get nothing.
Oh, I thought the story was going to end better.
No, that's what I was saying. It just reminded me of a time where I tried to do something legit, and it turned into shit. So I should have done the joke because that would have been better.
Made a car.
So I should have made one.
Made a custom email.
Yes.
That's like Tina Fey 13 at Gmail.
Yes. With like a sign, like a sign. Yeah, just something stupid like that. Yeah. But
here at Freeform, we encourage forgery over
effort.
Genuine.
Genuineness.
It's effort.
Genuine.
Yeah, over genuineness.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's funnier.
No, I think the
it turns into more apparently.
The effort of the charter's letter. That's this. Someday I would love to pull a prank on somebody that's that quality.
Well, you have to also think
this harder
because it's a gift at the same time, because it's somebody who recognizes this thing that no one else would know about.
Yeah,
this was the 03-04 internet.
Yeah,
it was harder to deal with. Like it was harder to.
Yeah. It would be harder to forge, but ironically, it would be easier to get away with because you'd have less to prove it against.
Right.
So nowadays, you'd have to make it, basically perfect.
Also, there was this weird thing, and our current, young kids won't know this, but the NFL circa turn of 2000, their letterhead was available for the public.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, I have.
Is that just like a sales tactic? They would sell it to people?
No. So the letterhead was for letters to write to the players.
Oh,
so they had it as promotional stuff.
Oh, okay.
So you could. He probably went and like made his.
Right.
Yeah, he had to steal.
If you were up in Seattle, then he'd have to go down to San Diego to get it. Because you got it from their club. From their club, each individual team's club store would have
gotcha.
letterhead for writing to players.
Interesting.
Actually, in 2000, in 2001, 2002, 2003, something like that, I never gave this to you, Dallas. I was supposed to. I was writing a movie script.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I did.
I found it. I started reading it, and I realized that the copy I was reading was heavily edited, and it didn't really resemble like the original stuff that I made.
Oh,
and that was just a bummer because I could have taken the original stuff that I did and turned it into a novel.
Oh,
because that's how I wrote it. It's not written like it's not good for a movie. It's pretty friggin' awful.
Just long dialogue.
It's just nonstop dialogue,
gotcha.
And me trying to anyway.
And it was written on the back of a Kathy Ireland cutout.
Yes. But you could go on the interwebs, and I did because I had to call some of my old coaches that were coaching in the NFL at the time, and you could just get. And by the way, you could do this all the way up until about 2006 or 8. You literally could just go to college websites. You could go to NFL websites. They literally had the desk phone numbers of the assistant coaches.
Yep.
Every one of them.
Yep. Wow.
And I would literally, you didn't even have to call through like an assistant or a secretary or anything like that.
It was just, you call that number direct to them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Literally.
That is cool.
I remember calling one of my coaches. He's like, Jim Washburn. And I was like, hey, coach.
You're like, I just want to see if this was you. I just want to see if I got through. Like,
And he proceeded to talk to me for like 25 minutes.
that's cool. I like that.
That's cool.
That's awesome, man.
Answer all my questions because I was basically kind of interviewing him for movie stuff, for the movie stuff.
Gotcha.
Anyway,
See, we need
old school internet, man.
more.
Yeah.
Ironically, it's easier than ever to get a hold of people, but also harder than ever to actually get through.
Yes.
It's so weird.
Oh yes.
I was gonna say, did you notice? Zach, you're probably the only one. But a few days before, it may have actually been last week, I actually posted how on Spotify Wrapped, Coldplay was my number one.
I saw that, yeah.
And the only reason I posted it was because I was in the top 0.01% of their listeners for 2021.
But you were?
I was. And I was like, I was surprised because I was like, I didn't feel like I listened to them that much. But I mean, they have
Coldplay?
Yeah, Coldplay. There's one album. There's a couple albums I like by them. One in particular I really like, but I just didn't realize how many times I listened to them. And I was like, oh. And I was just like, well, I figured I'll throw that on there because we also talked about Wrapped so much. Right. So I actually did tweet it out on Freeform. But it was mine, in case anyone, it was...
Yeah, because it wasn't going to be mine.
Well, I didn't think anyone would really think it was going to be anyone else's, but yeah. And so I just tweeted out, hey, Coldplay, was in the top 0.01%. And so I tweeted at them, but, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that, they generally, whatever your favorite artist is, they'll show that. I think I was top 1% of, Dance Gavin Dance, which was my top artist, and stuff like that. And so they always, give you whatever.
Kevin Dance.
Dance Gavin Dance. It's a band. But,
like Newsom.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is.
Rossdale.
It's Gavin Newsom, yeah.
Gavin Rossdale of Bush.
But yeah, so they do that. But
no, yeah, and I just thought it would be a funny thing because we talked about it so much, so I threw it out there. But of course, I didn't really think they would look at it and reply. But in the back of your head, you're always like, oh, that might be cool. But of course, it didn't get any traction. But that's kind of one of those examples where it's even if you're in their top, listeners, it's like, eh.
In a linked story back, I was having some rough spells before and around Thanksgiving. And so I was just turning on music and letting it play. And a couple times songs from the band Poor Man's Poison just hit me in the right way. And I was like, I'm really grooving with this. So I just tweeted at them and thanked them and linked the song on YouTube.
Oh.
The 3 times I did, they liked and replied to my tweets.
Really?
And I was like,
that's awesome.
I think they're and it's a verified account. So I was like, I think they're actually want people to tweet about them.
Well, dude, that's what's so cool about it. See, that's the thing. I think the problem with Coldplay, even though I'm in the highest of their listeners, obviously, that still is probably top, I don't know, hundreds, thousands of people.
Sure.
So even though I'm 0.01%, I'm still, that's a huge number of people.
You're
just so big.
Way behind the 0.0001.
Right. Yeah. The people, I was going to say, if
the people who listen to Coldplay
nonstop
for 364 days in that year for 12 hours each day,
Yeah, I was gonna say I like them, but not that much. But anyway, it's funny, that kind of stuff. I just find it interesting. But one thing I that Gabby had me actually thinking of when she was talking about the drive-throughs and going through places and being drive-throughs kind of have the personalities or need to have the right personality. You should choose your drive-through based on the personality. It just reminded me of this really funny quote from Jerry Seinfeld. He was doing his show, Comedians in Cars, and he was saying they were sitting in a diner. And I forget who his guest was, who he said this to. They were sitting in a diner, and he was eating, and he was just kind of looking around the room, and he goes, "Have you ever noticed?" He goes, whatever restaurant you go to, he goes, whatever it is, whatever the era is, whatever the style, whatever. He goes, if you look around at the people in that restaurant, he's like, they belong in that restaurant. And that's probably why they come to eat at that restaurant. He's like, they fit in, with wherever they're eating. I think that's generally true. Obviously this isn't a rule or anything, but when I was thinking about it, I was like, it is true though. When you generally look around, when I've been in say a Denny's, right? Versus, some high class Italian place. It is always odd if you see a person come in who's dressed not on theme, Like they come in wearing just like a rain slicker or something to some like really fancy restaurant. And you're like, oh, that's out of place. Like, what are they doing here? You know what I mean? Like people dress like wherever they go to.
Similarly, when people show up, and it's usually high school kids who are going to a dance or something, who are dressed all the way up, and they walk into a Denny's.
Right.
And you're like, okay.
You're like, they're going to prom.
Right. Yeah, they belong here, but
going to prom? Please say coming home from prom.
No, they don't.
Coming home from prom.
Or sometimes they're going because they didn't.
Or they snuck out.
Yeah, or whatever, yeah. Because, they don't eat before, and they're cheap. But they blew all their months, what is it called when kids get money? Allowance, thank you. Yeah. Gosh, I can't believe I forgot.
What is it called when kids
I'm not. I'm a business major. I'm not familiar with people getting money for free, yeah. But, when they get their allowance, they blew their year's allowance, so they had to go to dinner at Denny's. But
they're only at Denny's because Taco Bell closes at that
or
time.
They went through the drive-through, they got the 12 party pack of tacos, but it wasn't enough, and they're like, now we're going to Denny's.
I've seen that at a Dutch Bros, the outdoor little picnic table.
Yeah.
Where they've gone to Taco Bell a block away. Brought it there, and they're just sitting outside of Dutch Bros, and I'm like, really? That's
such a teenage thing.
That's
their hangout. Man.
That's your hangout.
The hang space.
When you're broke and you're young, anywhere's a hanging spot,
But see that whole park, picnic table thing, is right there, like in the intersection where all the cars are going around. Right. So it's like
it's a weird place.
It's a weird place to sit
for adults. Yes, I agree. But they're weird teenagers. I mean, and they probably are gonna they're probably gonna see a ton of their friends while they sit there. So I don't know.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
it just seems a strange place to put up. Your.
I agree.
Did y'all go to prom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to prom with a girl from the opposing high school, so that was fun. That was actually fun. Actually.
Oh, okay. I don't. Did you go to prom?
I went to prom with Pam Macy.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Probably no one's gonna get what I'm talking about right now. Pam Macy is a character off of that '70s show.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know you would know. Yeah, I'm explaining to our listeners because I'm guessing not a lot of people are gonna know that.
Yeah, Michael Kelso, man.
Yeah, Kelso got to go with Pam Macy.
Pam Macy.
I'm taking Pam Macy to the prom.
Dude, man, I gotta be honest. It's a freaking good show.
Oh, it's a great show. The best part was the first 4 seasons.
The best part is when
part of the whole show.
Well, the best
which is
part
also the best part of the 70s.
Yeah. That's accurate.
The best part is when I have to stifle myself because I will constantly, like, my kids will start complaining about something like, she took my toy, and I was like, yeah, you're about to take my foot up your ass. Like, it's just this,
the dad is.
I constantly like strive to be Red Foreman
because he's about to get my foot up his ass. It's fucking hilarious. If you've never seen that '70s show, watch it. I'm pretty sure it's on one of the hosting sites.
It's on Netflix right now.
It's definitely good. I can confirm. First 4 seasons, gold.
Agreed.
All first 4, definitely gold. After that, it's not horrible.
Yeah,
it's just some of the main characters start, moving off, and there's just some weird writing.
Final season is worth watching, though.
Yeah, there's other stuff going on in there
too. When they bring everything back and
they
do a proper send off.
It's all good, but I'm just saying, first 4 seasons, gold. Like, you will not be disappointed. Like, it's all good. It's so good. Yeah.
Did you do prom?
No.
Well,
no.
Yeah,
he
did. Yeah, he did. He did. But he doesn't want to talk about it.
It was really, really weird.
No, he did.
It was his mom.
It's weird when you got to slow dance with your mom. It's kind of.
It's the most homeschool thing ever. But we would do semi-formals, which was, basically every year we would dress up in some sort of theme or not. Sometimes we did themes, sometimes we didn't, and we dress up and do like a fancy dinner. Whatever, and dancing.
Yeah.
But it was all age groups, and nobody really did dates.
Yeah.
Kind of like,
I didn't have a date. I mean, I went with a bunch of friends, some guys and some girls.
Yeah.
Gabby, did you prom?
Yeah.
Everyone was too, they were too intimidated.
I can't tell. That was a neutral.
I feel like I'm not sure if I'm supposed to repeat my question or just move on.
It was I had lacrosse finals all day, so I went there late for like an hour and a half, and then I was like, "This sucks. I'm leaving."
Right, but it didn't take you an hour to figure out that it sucked.
Yeah. Well,
no, because it was same as Russ, where it was just like, oh, a bunch of my girlfriends and like some of our other friends, like we all just went.
Well, I'll admit we did have I mean, because I'm from the Dallas area, so that's okay to say. I'm presuming, but there's a lot of people from the Dallas area.
Yes,
we actually talked about you being from the Dallas area just last week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I literally said your hometown. Now that I think about it,
which for me, I don't really care.
No, it doesn't matter where you're from. I think it more matters where we are.
It's just not on the side of like being ashamed of.
No, I
proud
would
of.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Like, where I'm from?
Yeah.
No, it's a thing. It's a thing. Like if you you're like, man, I'm about to go, and then you get the letters of my city name, the first two letters of the two words, and like if you say like, oh man, I'm about to go do on this one.
Really?
It means
really.
It's a like if you are from my town, you're kind of there was Highland Park is a really ritzy area in Dallas.
Yeah.
My understanding when I was a kid is they actually had a dress up day like my town.
Dude, you know what you're like? Your town.
And I'm kind of proud of that.
You know what that's like?
Okay.
Speaking of another television show, which is just hilarious, Parks and Rec. It's like Highland Park was Eagleton.
Yeah.
And your town was the fucking the cheap one that they lived in.
Yes.
Pawnee.
Yes. Pawnee. Except we didn't have quite the same pride. We were the white trash of any race. That's us. That's us.
Of any race.
Well, whatever.
You were the white trash of any
Because I'm not going to start applying trash as a second word to other races.
You're saying you can just say your town was generally white trash.
We were white trash, but we were diverse. So whatever that was for your race. And we got it, but we got along well. So we had a freaking utopia.
Russ, just call it trash.
Yeah, it's just
don't assign it a color.
Just say we were kind of.
I'm not trying to be a jerk on this one.
No, I get what he's saying.
That's very Northern California thing. Well, I can't say that.
You can say that.
Okay, that's a very Northern California thing. Like you don't understand. Like you have some hill stuff though. I mean, you have a little redneck here.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, I don't want to turn down the wrong.
I mean, you can drive another hour and a half, and then you get to a real redneck country.
True.
Yeah, I'll admit, you turn down the wrong mountain road here.
Oh yeah.
You don't want to get stuck down there at that trailer.
No.
In the tree in the woods. Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sure there's any place.
Are you implying that Bigfoot will come after you, or
have you seen Deliverance?
No.
Ding 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 ding.
Yeah. No, I've seen Deliverance. Unfortunately.
Yeah. It's actually a horrible movie. I can't believe so many people like. I think it's just because it's so memorable.
Oh no! It's not that it's a good movie.
It's horrible. It's not even a good story. It's just something that's memorable, and you're like, oh.
I don't know if I would call it a horrible movie.
I think it's horrible.
I don't even know if it's a bad story. I think the story is fine. I think all of it's fine. Generally, the execution of it, I don't know. I like Burt Reynolds. I like the guys in the movie.
I bet you do.
You better right. I do. But it's what? No, the reason it's famous is because of.
I mean, obviously,
there's a few things.
No spoilers, but
I mean, Ned Beatty. Come on, man.
Yeah. And what the hell was Burt wearing in that thing? He's like a cut off wetsuit.
Well, don't forget. I don't even know. I'm pretty sure
what the heck he was wearing. It's so strange.
Pretty sure Burt Reynolds played football at Florida State.
Yeah.
I mean, that has nothing to do with his wardrobe, though.
But he was a big dude back in the day.
No, but he wasn't big. It was a weird. It's hard to explain. It gives me vibes of Waterworld, is what he was wearing. That's what it gives me vibes of. And if you've ever seen Waterworld, Kevin Costner, that's exactly. It's kind of similar to what.
Not a bad movie, by the way.
No, Waterworld's great.
Okay, really quickly, tiniest side tangent. But my mom has listened to a couple episodes of the podcast.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Oh.
And she specifically was talking about the one where you two were going back and forth about Waterworld and how great it was.
Oh, okay.
And she was like, I can't believe that they like that movie. That's the worst movie that ever existed.
Shout out Zach's mom.
She said she was listening to it while driving and she out loud was like, what are they talking about? That movie sucked. And she was like, wait, nobody's listening.
Wow.
Did I really? Did I really?
We talked about it. This is a long time ago.
It was a while ago.
Yeah,
Did I really say it was that good of a movie?
Well, you guys were just talking about it. I know Dallas really enjoys it.
I really popped it up. And I think you in general were just like, yeah, it's pretty good. Like,
it was a high budget,
well, no, it was at the time.
Pardon
it was
the
like
pun, blew out of the water budget.
Oh,
she just goes, that was the worst movie. I don't know why they like that movie.
Hey, I
can see. To be fair to your mom, I can see why she would say that.
Yeah,
but I it's pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I can see why people wouldn't like it. It's just an action adventure, and it's a really creative idea. And
no, I watched it. I thought it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's just I don't know.
it's like yeah, we could do the movie. It's like the water version of like, yeah, but let's watch it while high. but it's the water version of that.
Yeah,
let's make that movie, but on water.
Yeah,
on water.
So anyway, yeah, I don't know, and that's fine. I'm sure there are plenty of things that we talk about that people disagree with, and that's okay.
Yeah,
because we also endorse
all of them.
Spite streaming.
We endorse spite streaming.
Hashtag spite streaming. That's also one of our.
Really quick definition is just you hate what we talk about or our opinions, but you listen out of hate.
Yeah.
It's like hate watch.
And we encourage them to tweet at us and comment something that you don't like.
Next time there's a definition, instead of Dallas telling his 7-minute story, why don't you just take care of the definition for me?
I was going to, and then Dallas started talking, and then I was like, I'll just let it go.
Hey, it's whatever. Yeah. It's a little flavor.
I would have got it if you just would. Zach, do you have a definition for booming?
Yeah. It's when there's some sort of general technology or pop culture that you don't understand. You can call yourself out by saying, I'm booming.
Yes.
That would have done it for me.
But I guess I made the specific designation that it's on the way.
Between technical writing and business writing.
What do you call me?
I don't.
Writing.
I don't.
You call me. As I would say about myself. I think
meandering.
I think entangled slinkies.
The difference is Dallas will go from point A to point B with a wide margin in between, but he will always get to point B.
Right.
I will go from point A to point B with
a straight line,
a much straighter line. Less probably entertaining, but it'll get there. Russ will go from point A to point C to point G to point D, and most of the time never end up to B.
Exactly. That's true.
That's fair.
We end on X or Y.
No. Dallas, I've noticed, has the capability.
Usually Y.
So, unlike myself, Dallas has the ability to take a really long road, but he always finds his way back at where his destination was. Yeah. Like you can divert his attention, you can distract him, but he will eventually always remember. Man, you're right. That's true. I won't even get to point C, F, G, or anything. I'll just start talking about that over there.
No, he'll start talking about numbers instead. He'll get to point 3 and 4 before he gets to point C.
Yeah, this is F prime.
Yeah.
F prime.
Then he starts just reciting the digits of pi in between.
It's like, what's
happening?
Dum did it.
That's true. And I was gonna say, I don't know if you guys have checked out the latest episode I just posted, but several of the chapters, because when I went and re-listened to that episode, by the way, that was quite. I was definitely on one on that one, and
were you?
Yeah. No, I know you guys were there and you're aware. I had to cut out about 12 minutes out of that podcast total, in different sections of just me like going on shit. And I still left in, a ton of stuff. But yeah, and that's why in the podcast, in the description I put, and Dallas makes an ass of himself. Like, it's just hilarious. But no, it was like
Is that
worthy.
How you start all of them now?
No.
Yeah,
no.
that's how the beginning.
I try to stay rare, in that to make that rare form, And if you haven't noticed,
do you bleep the language or no?
No, I do not.
You actually turn up the volume on them?
Yeah. I blast every time I cuss.
He puts like a bass filter underneath every time someone says fuck.
Yeah,
and it's just like
so it shakes the car when you're listening. Yeah. But no, anyway, the point I was trying to make was on the new episode on chapter titles, I put on several of them, it was like, here's a Dallas tangent. Here's another Dallas tangent. I think one of them, I had a tangent inside of a tangent, and I called it like Tangentception or something like that. I was like, what the hell am I doing? Like, I just keep going off on these things.
Yeah, prime.
But it was true. I did eventually come back to finish whatever I was talking about, even if it was 20,
like you just did
20
now.
minutes later. But yeah. So, yes, if you don't like my long-winded stories, please let me know. Please keep spite streaming. I would appreciate that. Trying to up our views. And I want to start saying this. I haven't really said it before, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. If you're listening on YouTube, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It definitely helps us out.
We gotta start
gain
doing
some
that.
traction.
Hit the little bell notification.
Yeah, hit the little bell. You'll only get a notification once a week because that's all we do. So you won't be harassed or anything like that. New episodes on podcasts are every Monday, and new episodes on YouTube are every Wednesday. So you can go ahead and look for those. And I try to post them in the morning. Now I'm pretty streamlined on the way that I do it. So if you like this, if you don't like it and want to spite stream, please do that. And please share it with somebody. Let someone know about it, whether you like it or not. Just be like, hey, this is shitty. You should listen to this. Or, hey, this is actually kind of funny. You should listen to this.
Or either way, somewhere in between, we're okay with that.
Well, yeah, we'll take somewhere in between. Like, you know what? It's good and it's bad.
If you don't like me, then eat a dick.
Wow. So on that note,
we wanted more listeners. Is that what that was?
In all honesty, I'm not serious. No, I'm just serious.
What?
Yeah, that was intentional.
I'm not serious.
Anyway,
I'm a lot nicer than I pretend to be.
Well, it's like I say all the time, you know, I'm a dick for entertainment, you know, but
I don't think I've ever heard that before.
Yeah, the context of what Russ was saying.
Oh yeah. Not for that. Not for that.
That's way better.
You're in the wrong profession.
I'm nicer than Gabby playing goalie in field hockey.
I am. None of that. So anyway, we appreciate you listening to us as always. Did anyone have any closing words, closing arguments?
I dub thee night.
Russ is having a stroke, guys. I'm sorry. If you should if you like strokes. That being said, we're closing out. Thanks for listening. This has been the Freeform Podcast with myself, Zach, Gabby, Tim, and Russ. This evening, no field hockey players were harmed.
Actually, all of them were harmed. That's
Not this evening.
Not this evening.
well.
It was all in the
us.
past. Yeah.
We're out of season right now.
We're out of season. Okay.
Yeah.
Off season.
Yeah. They were
They're
unseasoned.
gearing up to kick the crap out of girls soon.
There you go. That's what Russ does every night.
Got 3 daughters and a wife. I gotta put my foot in someone's ass.
I think the truth, unfortunately,
I can't
is quite.
put my foot in my own ass.
Yeah, the truth, fortunately, is quite the opposite. I think he gets several ass kickings per evening by those females. So it's quite the way you want it to be, folks. Anyway, that being said, thanks for spending your time with us. Hope to have you guys come and listen to us again, and have a good evening.